So there's something that I think people need to understand. And I saw what JT Party had put in the chat. I'm aware of what's going on. So evidently, this storm cloud, if you will, this nightmarish hell on earth oil black rain cloud apparently is making its way into China now. And China, in addition to the one thing you don't do with China more than anything else, China's a very forgiving nation. But if you mess with their success, they are not going to take that sitting down. Their success, their ability to become I don't even know if they care about being the world hegemon, but I think they are definitely intending to be the world's #1 economy. That much I definitely believe. Oh, gave him another 6 months. I've heard that joke.
I'll give you that. Really, that's funny.
That's a Benny Youngman joke from many years ago.
That's a good one. I'll give you that Jew joke. That's good.
No popular support. China warns against government change in Iran. Beijing calls for Iran's sovereignty to be respected and demands immediate stop to military operations in the Middle East. If China tells you to stop what you're doing, stop what you're doing. It's not a good idea.
It's not a good idea. They're not an aggressive people. It's like, I wouldn't anger it. I'm just saying, not a good idea.
You go first.
China has warned against seeking government change in Iran amid the ongoing U.S.-Israeli offensive, saying any such move lacks public support. Plotting a color revolution or seeking government change will find no popular support, China's foreign minister Wang Yi told a news conference on the sidelines of an important annual gathering in Beijing. All right, scroll. Let's see what we got. Wang also called for the sovereignty of Iran and all countries to be respected and demanded an immediately stop to military operations in West Asia to prevent an escalation and avoid a spillover of the conflict. This is a war that should not have happened, and it is a war that does no one any good, Wang said. Force provides no solution, and armed conflict will only increase hatred and breed new crises. So the Chinese people are sounding, I don't know, rational. Okay. The people of West Asia are the true masters of this region, and the region's affairs should be determined by the countries there independently, urging non-interference in internal affairs. A strong fist does not mean strong reason. The world cannot return to the law of the jungle. Au contraire, Mr. Chinese person, you have no idea the level of ignoramus with which you're dealing. Wang urged all sides to return to the negotiating table as quickly as possible to resolve differences through dialogue and work to realize common security. See, the Chinese people, I don't know that they can fully grasp the level of really what they're dealing with here, because it's like ignorant children. They're dealing in a room with ignorant children. So I don't know that they're
dealing with a collapsing empire, and they're the ascending empire. That's
exactly
the reason why I always said China doesn't have to do anything. They're just going to fall apart. But
you see, now they're going to have to, because they're not going to allow their economy to tank and their people to get poisoned. So China, he added, stands ready to work with the regional countries to restore order to West Asia, calm to its people, and peace to the world. According to a classified U.S. National Intelligence Council report, even a large-scale U.S. military offensive would be unlikely. And this is, again, U.S. National Intelligence Council report. A large-scale U.S. military offensive would be unlikely to overthrow Iran's military and clerical power structure. And I've said it before. We had Colonel Larry Wilkerson saying it. In every simulation scenario they've run with us against Iran, we lose every single time. Every single time. Like, this is crazy to me. According to the report published on Saturday by the Washington Post, citing 3 sources familiar with the classified document, undercuts President Trump's assertion that he could clean out Iran's leadership and install a preferred successor, indicating that such an outcome would be far from certain. Yeah, it would be, Trump. It would be just like your Gulf of Mexico. It'll be as real as that. Beijing has condemned the killing of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, Wang also maintained China's relations with Russia, which has been criticized by the West for sustaining the war in Ukraine, remains steadfast and unshakable. Yeah, I think we need to stop poking at them. That's what I think. I think we need to stop poking with them because we are so at the gates of finding out with China.
And let's pull up that other article real quick, Colin. The other China article.
So this, and this is what I sort of see in sort of relation to that, because we have people like our president, delusional people that think that they're just going to go over and talk to them and make a deal. And we've had Iran say that they're done talking with us. They're not negotiating with us, and they have no desire for a ceasefire. So they're done talking to us. And now we're going to try to put out this idea that we're going to just work with China. Yeah, they're not working with us either. They've seen our negotiations. We negotiate like Bruce Willis in The Fifth Element. They're not playing with us. Exactly. So they're not negotiating. So this is, and also let's be very aware that this is an NBC News article. So we have to always recognize the source. Do you want to read this one?
I will do the honors. The U.S. and China running the world together. China says, no thanks. For China, President Donald Trump's use of the term G2 is an acknowledgement of its growing power. But for U.S. allies, it raises fears they could be cut out of decision-making.
So now, again, this is presented by NBC, so take that with a grain of salt.
For President Trump, global power may boil down to the U.S. and China, which he calls the G2 group of two. But China is less with a G2. With China, but less enamored with the idea, at least publicly. The concept of a G2, a more exclusive version of the group of seven, group of 20 forums, was introduced in 2005 by American economist C. Fred Bergston to underscore the importance of communication between the world's two biggest economies. Though it was initially embraced by some policymakers, the idea fell out of favor in Washington amid rising tensions with Beijing, including during Trump's first term. Last fall, however, Trump repeatedly used the term G2 to refer to his meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in South Korea, without saying how a G2 world order would work in practice. He is set to meet with Xi again when he travels to China later this month. For China, Trump's casual use of G2 is an acknowledgement of its growing power, suggesting that the U.S. and China are global peers and should have equal say in international affairs. But for U.S. allies, it raises fears that Washington and Beijing could cut them out of important decision-making and make deals that work against their interests. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, China's top diplomat, sought to ally such fears Sunday at a news conference on the sidelines of China's annual legislative session in Beijing. There is no doubt that China and the U.S. have a significant impact on the world, but we should not forget there are more than 190 countries on our planet. Amazing. Amazing. It's like the inverse.
China recognizes it. I know. It's crazy. Like, this country actually recognizes the sovereignty and dignity of other nation states. It's fascinating.
World history has always been written by many countries together, and the future of humanity will be forged through the collective efforts of all nations. The G2 concept is a thorny one for China, which bases much of its diplomacy in the global south on opposing the idea that major powers should dictate the smaller ones. It is also reluctant to take on more responsibility for global governance if it means being drawn into conflicts in the Middle East and elsewhere. And West Asia and elsewhere that have stymied the U.S. Wang said China will never seek hegemony or expansion and that it wants to build an equal and orderly multipolar world. Looking back in history, great power rivalry and bloc confrontation have invariably inflicted disaster and pain on humanity. Therefore, China will never take the beaten path of seeking hegemony as its strength grows, nor do we subscribe to the logic that the world can be run by major countries. Though the questions and answers at Wang's annual news conference are coordinated in advance, it is a rare opportunity to hear directly from one of China's highest ranking officials. His answers signal how China sees its position in the world and its relations with other countries. including the U.S. U.S.-China relations have far-reaching and global implications. Turning our backs on each other would only lead to mutual misperception and miscalculation. Sliding into conflict or confrontation could drag the whole world down. Though China and U.S. relations have been tested by Trump's global tariffs, he often talks about his great relationship with Xi and has spoken with him twice by phone since their October meeting. It is
Can you
hard.
imagine? Can you just imagine for a moment what that must be like for Xi to talk to Donald Trump? Seriously, can you imagine what that must be like? Because I can think of people in my life that it's like for me to have a conversation with them, like it's kind of like teaching lizard to a lizard, teaching math to a lizard, right? Like it's just silly. Like what are we doing here? That's what it must be like for him talking to Trump.
Indeed. It is heartening to see that the presidents of the two countries have led by example by maintaining good interactions at the top level. They have provided an important strategic safeguard for the U.S.-China relationship to improve and move forward, and they have brought their relationship back on an even keel after the ups and downs.
Mm.
How much longer is this, Colin?
It's not very long.
Okay.
That ends right there.
Trump and Xi are set to meet up 4 times this year, starting with a 3-day trip to China by Trump, that the White House says will start March 31st. Xi is then expected to reciprocate with a trip to the U.S., and he could also attend the G20 summit in Miami in December. Oh boy, that's a.
I know.
You know what that could be.
I just know that I'm just glad I'm not anywhere in the vicinity.
Yeah, well, if they're going to drop it anywhere, that's where they would drop it. In November, Trump may attend the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit that China is hosting in Shenzhen. I got it.
Okay.
Second time I got it. 2026 is a big year for U.S.-China relations. The agenda of high-level exchanges is already on the table. What the two sides need to do now is to make thorough preparations accordingly, create a suitable environment, manage the risks that do exist, and remove unnecessary disruptions. One potential disruption to the Trump-Xi summit is the ongoing U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran, which has close ties to China. On Sunday, Wang reiterated reiterated Beijing's calls for an immediate halt to military action. You mean a ceasefire? And a return to dialogue, saying the war with Iran does no one any good. You think?
Well, but again, these are people with reason. I don't know how they can't fathom this.
Seeing the Middle East engulfed in flames, I want to say that this is a war. What?
It's a quote, so I'll let it slide. Go ahead.
I want to say that this is a war that should not have happened. It is a war that does no one any good. Wang also rejected the abuse of force and violations of international law. The law of the jungle must not return and rule the world. Willful use of force does not prove one's strength.